I pulled the front door open with just a little bit too much force, trying to keep my expression from revealing the irritation I felt at being interrupted while reading. The blood drained from my cheeks, though, and my mild irritation seemed impossibly trivial as I saw who was standing at my door. It took me several long seconds to rid my expression of the shock I felt. I desperately tried to think of a simple way to rid my doorway of our visitor, too, but nothing was ever easy when it came to Chase Williams. He was leaning against the doorframe, looking relaxed and every bit like he belonged there. I hadn't realized he was back in Fairview, and just the sight of him was enough to ruin my day. I stood there silently, glaring at Chase. He'd grown broader over the last 6 weeks, if that was even possible, and his tan had deepened after a summer in LA. He was every bit as gorgeous as I remembered, but his looks didn't faze me like they did the other girls in school. I knew that, behind his perfect exterior, Chase was cruel and calculating. His full lips were lifted in a smirk, and his Arctic blue eyes were narrowed as he glared back at me. His stare caused my heart to beat quicker, but I kept my face passive, not daring to reveal he filled me with agitation. My veins still pulsed with the same toxic hatred he'd poisoned them with at the dance all those years ago. But instead of allowing the venom to weaken me, I used it to fuel my defenses against him and gave him a smirk of my own. "Ally," he said in greeting. "Satan?" I replied. "Back already? I would have thought you were too busy destroying innocent souls in LA. Dark amusement swirled in his eyes.
"I think you know there's still 1 or 2 innocent souls back here in Fairview for me."
His gaze dipped to take in my fraying sweater and revealing shorts. I suddenly felt like I was showing far too much leg, but quickly realized Chase was more likely to be judging my casual outfit than checking me out. He'd made it more than clear over the years just how repulsive he thought I was.
"Your brother home?"
"Nope." Without another word, I took a step back and slammed the door in his face. It made a satisfying bang as it shut, and I smiled as I turned to walk back through the house. It might have been a childish thing to do, but it felt like a small victory. I only wished my heart wasn't still racing. Chase always had that effect on me. He made me jittery and nervous, and not in a good way. Dad didn't look up as I entered the kitchen. He had legal files spread all over the kitchen table, and I knew it would probably take an atomic bomb going off in the backyard to rip his attention away from them. The man lived and breathed his work, and it was surprising to see him home from the office, even though it was a weekend.
"Who was at the door?"
I jumped as Shane came up behind me. "Don't sneak up on people," I said, scowling over my shoulder at him. We both had the same dirty blonde hair as our dad, but that was where all similarity between us ended.